Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, and today I'm really excited to show you guys my tips and tricks on how to create a flawless, smooth, non-cakey base. I'm really excited about this one because I really go in depth with the tools that I use as well as why I am doing certain things. So today we're going to be discussing my skincare routine in the morning as well as my makeup routine. So I hope you guys all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start this off with some skincare. So my face is completely dry, nothing's on it, and I'm gonna actually go ahead and do a scrub slash exfoliation. Now I am the type of person who doesn't like to exfoliate often because I already went through a whole phase where I over exfoliated and my skin was horrible. So I have been going for these type of products. This one is by Touch in Sol. This is their Mission Complete Mild Scrub and Peeling Black Gel Mask. So this is pretty much a black powder peeling gel that cleanses the surface of the skin and wipes out all of the dead skin cells, and it'll clump it all up. So what I like to do, I like to go ahead and apply maybe this much, and I will evenly distribute it across the face first. And just rub it in. I'll rub it in for maybe a minute. I know that seems like a really long time, but you really want your skin to ball up on the face so that you could rinse it off. Now with this scrub, I only do it once a week because I feel like for me that's enough. I don't find that I have to do this twice a week unless my skin is just feeling really disgusting, then I will, but normally once a week is fine. The importance of just cleansing the skin of its dead skin cells, whether it's physical exfoliation, chemical exfoliation, or this like peeling mask that I have going on here, it just helps make the skin nice, soft, smooth, and it'll just make your makeup look smoother, softer, and your skin just has a better base. So all of the black residue that you see, that's all of my dead skin. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this off, and then I will show you guys some of my morning skincare routine. Now that the face is cleansed, we want to go in with a product that's very, very lightweight. So you're going to go either in with your toner or your essences at this point. Now I actually like using my Shiseido softener. This one is the Benefiance Wrinkle Resist 24. This one is being discontinued. However, this is the one that's in my collection. I really like this because it goes really deep down into the skin and hydrates and moisturizes, and it promotes collagen health. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this. I have a little cotton round here. This one's like one of those reusable ones. And I'm just going to evenly distribute this all over the skin. Normally I will use my hands, but for the sake of the video, you know, to be a little bit more luxe, I do want to use the cotton round. The Benefiance line I think is one of my favorite lines from Shiseido because it helps prevent fine lines and wrinkles for somebody as young as me. But if you are already someone who experiences any fine lines or wrinkles, it will help diminish the appearance of them, which is really nice. So normally I would have really bad smile lines, but since I have been using a lot from the Benefiance line, my smile lines are not as prominent, and neither are my forehead lines, which is A+. Hydration is key, so we're gonna actually move on into our serum. So I'm gonna use the Ofra B5 Serum. This is a B5 and hyaluronic acid serum, and I'm gonna go ahead and do 2 pumps of this. Now this is amazing because it also is very lightweight and very thin, so it's going to sink down deeper into the skin. And when you are layering your skincare, you wanna go from thinnest to heaviest. I go right under the eye with the serum because it's also very important to hydrate that under eye area as well. And then don't forget the neck. We're going to pair that up with another Ofra product. This is their Peptide Moisturizer. This is great for wrinkle smoothing, but for me it's just a preventative measure. I love this stuff so much. And for me in my skincare routine, whether it's the morning or the night, I like to apply a lot of moisturizer because I just love feeling hydrated. I love looking hydrated. It's just one of my favorite parts of my skincare routine. I'm going to use the Derma E Anti-Wrinkle Eye Cream, and I'm going to show you guys my little skincare hack. So I would typically just grab my eye creams and apply this under the eyes as normal. But also if you're somebody who suffers from any smile lines or forehead lines, then I would apply it in those areas too, and I would do this in the morning and night. And the reason why I do that is because eye creams are usually really concentrated because the under eye area is so delicate, and normally you just need additional help under the eyes. So if you are suffering from any other lines and wrinkles on your face, try this. It'll probably help. The one skincare tip that my mom has always given me since I was a little kid was to never skip sunscreen. So I wear sunscreen every single day, and I have become accustomed to a lot of different sunscreens. I think that if you are in the drugstore and you don't really care about cruelty-free or not, the Neutrogena one is really good. However, if you like a cruelty-free version from the drugstore, then definitely go for SunBum. I love that stuff so much. For myself in particular, I feel like I have gravitated more towards Shiseido sunscreens. I really like this one. This one is one of my new favorites. This one is the Shiseido Senka, and it is Japanese, so you can only really get it online. And my rule of thumb when I apply sunscreens on my face is to just do my finger lengths, and usually that is enough product. I know it looks like a lot. I've heard people say that you should use half a teaspoon, which is a lot, but I think that if you are somebody who takes your skincare very seriously, then, you know, it's not a big deal. Look at how nice and dewy my skin looks. I just love this fresh luminosity. It's not too oily, but it's definitely something that just makes my skin feel more hydrated. It also has some anti-aging benefits in here as well, so everything is going to just maintain itself for longer. And I think that's just the key. Like, if you're young, you should just be preventing your skin from aging. So, you know, even though it says anti-aging and maybe you feel like, I'm too young for that, you could just be preserving what you already have for longer. So yeah, some people think I'm still like 15, but I'm 22, period. Normally I will give this a second to dry, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and clean my desk. I'm gonna dry my hair a little bit with a hair dryer, and then I'll come back and I'll show you guys my base routine. Okay, so I'm back. I just blow dried my hair, but I didn't style it, so I do look like Lord Farquaad right now, but that's besides the point. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and show you guys my entire makeup base routine. This isn't new, but I do wanna give you guys a more in-depth look at the brushes and the techniques that I do use for my base. Now, I also wanna quickly mention that I have a video featuring my all-time favorite primers and why, as well as my favorite foundations and why. And that, I feel like, will also be very helpful because for this I just want to show you guys the techniques as opposed to the all of the products, because I've already done videos on them. Because my base is already super hydrated, there is no need for me to go in with a hydrating primer. So if you are somebody who doesn't have a lot of moisturizers in their routine, maybe you might find benefit in using a moisturizing primer and then maybe a pore filling primer or smoothing primer, depending on what you're trying to achieve. Now, since my base is already hydrated, like I mentioned, I'm gonna go into something more pore filling just so I could have a nice, smooth, even base. This one is my Holy Grail Touch and Soul No Poreblem Primer. One pump is usually all I need, and I normally focus it right in the center of my face because when you're talking to somebody, they're only really going to see the center of your face. However, there are instances where I do have acne, like right here, or just in other random areas on my face, so I will do another additional pump just to cover that area. But for the most part, one pump is usually all I need, and this is going to help smooth my pores, that's in the center of my face, and my chin, it'll just help with the longevity because I have a bad habit of rubbing my chin, so that's the reason why I like putting it there. Don't neglect the smile line, especially if that's your trouble area, and then the forehead, especially if that's your trouble area as well. And then once that is all in the center of my face, I will just take the rest and smooth it out towards the rest of my face. That way I am utilizing what I already have and it's not just built up right in the center. I am the type of person who only applies my foundation with a sponge. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of the sponges that I really do love. Now I love my ShopMissA Paw sponge. Now this one is dirty, so I'm not gonna be using it today, but this is my #1 sponge. The sponge that I'm gonna be using today is by Spicy Choco. They have a variety of different shapes. I just have the one that looks like this. This is really nice, really bouncy, but it's kind of dense, very reminiscent of the Japanese Kumadori sponge. That's another one that I really, really love. You can find those at Walmart. And another sponge that I really love is also by ShopMissA. It's their Mochi Blender. That one is kind of similar to this as well, but I feel like the Mochi sponge is just a little softer than this. So the only foundation in my collection that actually truly matches me is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie. I am in the shade MG3, and luckily this is actually one of my favorite foundations of all time. I love it because there's 100 shades, so there's no reason why you shouldn't find your shade in this foundation line. It's relatively affordable compared to a lot of other high-end foundations. This ranges around $30. I love it because the pump is amazing. It also has this little doe foot applicator so that you could use it as concealer if you'd like to. And I just love the finish on the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this today with my Spicy Choco blender. Now the key to making your foundations as flawless as possible is to start little and then build up. So I only take one full pump first. I used to do 2 pumps, but honestly I found that the more foundation that I applied on my skin, the more I had to blend, and although I did get full coverage, I felt like I was wasting a lot of my foundations in the end. I also dotted around my skin, and I noticed that some people just go in straight into the sponge. However, I don't do that because I noticed that if I just go straight into my hand, when I am cleaning my sponges, it's harder to clean, so that's the reason why I don't do it, but you can if you want to. I just feel like I save product and I just get less of a cakey mess, because if you just dot it in your hand and you just go straight into your face, all of that is concentrated into one area as opposed to being evenly distributed once you dot it around. When I do start blending, I usually start in this lower area here because I want to make sure that there is no line of demarcation from my foundation and my neck. That's always the issue. So I always start here first because I just remember like when my sister was starting to get into makeup and she was into MAC, her foundations were so orange on her, and I just remember seeing like a mask of foundation. So I told myself, when you start wearing foundation, Jasmine, you better not have that. So I start there. And I do take the foundation all the way up under the eyes just so that when I apply concealer, there is less concealer that I'm using. I also go over this under eye nose situation like a couple of times just to make sure everything is pressed in. And pressed is the key word here because as you see, I'm not dragging anything. I am pressing it in. So right where I apply it, I want it to be in that area. If I am swiping, then I am moving the foundation around, and that's not what you want. You want it all to just stay level on your skin. Now at this point, this is all one pump of foundation. Really nice. I love the luminosity. It's very slight, but it still just looks very healthy. So I do take a mirror and I do examine my skin, and I'm just seeing where I need additional coverage. And I do have a little bit of extra foundation on the back of my hand, so I will scoop that up and I will apply it in areas that I just need additional coverage with this foundation. And for me, usually that's just right in this area. So this is what the base looks like, really nice. We're gonna go ahead and mosey on into some concealer. Today I'm gonna be using Tarte Shape Tape. I know a lot of people either really love this or they don't like it at all. I have a video talking about all of my favorite concealers, so if you'd like to see that, I will have that in the description box below as well. But I love the Tarte Shape Tape because I find that for me, it literally self-sets, so that means I use less powder, and that's just all I'm looking for. Like, I'm just looking to use less makeup but get full coverage. So I'm gonna go ahead, I have the shade Light Medium, and I'm gonna show you guys where I apply my concealer. So with Shape Tape, I like to apply it right here mostly, because once I blend it out, it stretches pretty far, so I could just take it up here. I like to go right in between my brows here because sometimes that gets red, and then I will slowly drag it down the bridge of my nose, and then the chin area. And that's usually the only places I like to apply concealer. If you guys watch Jackie Aina, you guys probably know her trick with concealer. She likes to let it set on the skin first, just like this, and then blend it out after a couple of minutes. That offers optimal coverage and less blending. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit here for like a couple of minutes and just vibe out. I'm gonna start off in the chin area, and then I'm gonna move on to the forehead, nose, and then under eye area. I love this because it really just goes such a long way. I love the self-setting feature that this has, because if I'm ever in a rush, then I don't really have to worry about it. And then while I'm here, I like to take this right on my eyelid, and this acts as my own eye primer because, as you guys know, I don't really wear eye primer, so I just take this time to just set my eyelids with this concealer, the residual of it. I'm gonna move on into my powder products. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I use for my powder. Now, I'm actually gonna go ahead and try and finish up the Makeup Revolution Bacon Blot. This isn't my favorite powder, but it is a Project Pan item. You could use translucent powder if you'd like, loose, pressed, whatever it is, you could definitely use it with these 3 brushes. Now, this is a technique that I like to use, and it is foolproof with whatever powder you are using. So for today, I actually am going to be using this brush by Real Her. This is the I Achieve Goals brush. Now, there are also 2 different brush sizes that you could use. You could use something a little bit more domed like this, which is from Sigma, or you could use something kind of like this where it is pinched. This one's from ShopMissA. All 3 work the same on the face, so I'm actually just gonna go ahead and show you guys what I do. So since I have only the product around the edge of the pan, I like to swirl it first, tap it off, and then go right into the area that I applied concealer. So this is gonna be right under the eye, on the chin, and on the forehead and nose. And that is it. That is all for my banana powder. I am not going to set the rest of my face because once we apply our bronzer, blush, and highlight, this area as well as the forehead area will be covered with that powder. So you don't want to continue layering on the powders, especially if you want to avoid looking dry and cakey. For bronzer, I will be using my Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer by Too Faced. Now, this is actually one of my all-time favorite bronzer brushes. And yes, it looks like your typical angled brush. And yeah, you can use any angled brush in your collection, but I love this one because of how dense it is. Like, I feel like because of its density, it's able to really pack on and blend the shades together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing as you see here. I did hit pan, so I'm gonna swirl it a couple times extra and then tap a little bit off. And then I will go ahead and pat on my bronzer first, just so I could get a shape, and then I will blend it. So I will kind of go in like a tapping motion. And then towards the hairline, I will still continue that tapping motion just because I find it to be easier on my forehead. And I do like to take the bronzer onto the apple of the cheek because I feel like it just gives like a more natural bronzy effect. And then I also take it on the nose because naturally, when you do get bronze, your nose is the first one to really see the sun. For blush, I'm going to take one of my favorites from Catrice. This is the Strobing blush in the shade Miss Summer Peach. And I'm going to take this on another little angled brush here. We all have one in our collection. This one is just smaller and a little bit more flimsy, which I feel like is perfect for blush because I personally like to build up my blushes. I like to go a little heavy-handed with my bronzer, so I do like to go in with a more dense brush. But for this, I like to go ahead and start on the apple of the cheek here. I do like to smile while I do this, and then I blend back towards the hairline, and then with whatever is left, I will apply that on the tip of the nose. Now, to finish off the powdered products, we do have the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighter in the shade Mean Money and Hustle Baby. As you see, I hit Major Pan in Mean Money, but we're still going to be using that. So both of these formulas are a little bit different. The Mean Money shade is a little bit more of like a glow from within, and then Hustle Baby is definitely one of those beaming highlights. So I try to coat my brush as best as I can And I like to go ahead and start on the apple of my cheek here, because when you look forward, you want people to see the highlight. So that's the reason why I don't just apply it out here, because I feel like you could only see it when you turn your head. I want this highlight to be visible at all angles. So I bring it forward towards the apple of my cheek. And then for my nose, I like to just do the tip of the nose here and right in this divot right here, because I do have a bump on the bridge of my nose that I do not want to accentuate. So I just go right here, and it kind of just gives the illusion that my nose is straight, even though it's not. For my makeup routine, setting sprays are usually optional. Usually this is what I just leave the house with, but if you're somebody who likes to set their makeup in place, I really like the MAC Fix Plus. I also like the Urban Decay All Nighter spray, and then the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray is pretty good as well. Sometimes I do use essence sprays, skincare sprays for my makeup because I look more dewy. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this because I feel like everyone has tried it at some point. So I'm gonna go ahead and spritz this. My mom gave me this fan. And just like that, everyone, we are completed with our non-cakey base here. I hope you guys all really enjoy. For me, this makeup look can honestly last all freaking day. I think the Pure foundation is one of the best foundations as far as coverage and longevity. One of my top recommendations for sure. Love it so much. Now, I also want to go ahead and kind of give you guys like a roundup in this video on what I think is really key to making your makeup last all day long. So I know I already gave you guys like this entire video, but I also feel like it's really important to reiterate that exfoliating your skin maybe once or twice a week is really important. I personally don't do any physical exfoliators, so I don't really do like those Clarisonic brushes. I don't do like the granular type sugar, or I don't know what other ones are there. You know, like the sugary type of scrubs. I don't really like to do that on my face because personally, I just suffered from it, you know, years ago, and I just don't find results for my skin type. However, if you like doing that, then by all means do it for you. For me personally, I do love to moisturize the skin, and I think that is the key to making your makeup look non-cakey, because once you moisturize and once you add those powders, it all kind of just smooths out in the end. So if your skin is dry beforehand and then you go ahead with powders, yes, your skin may look airbrushed and smooth in pictures. However, in person, your skin's just gonna look dry and parched, and it's just not gonna look that nice and youthful and glowy. So I do highly recommend moisturizing the skin, making sure that all those layers going from light all the way to heavy is also really important to keep in mind. And then remember that less is more with your makeup. So just go ahead and continue to build up where needed, and that way you could save some of your makeup as well as giving you the best finish possible. So I hope you guys all really enjoy this one. Let me know if you guys found any of these tips helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click that notification bell to get notified of all of my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday uploads. I hope you guys all enjoy this one, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Peace out, Girl Scouts.